Okay, so if you've ever, had a car accident and filed an insurance claim, you know that feeling, that sinking feeling after the accident, the shock wears off, and then the waiting game begins. Waiting for an adjuster, days maybe, waiting for paperwork, weeks sometimes, waiting for someone, a real person, to drive out, look at your car, and basically put a price tag on a dent. It feels slow, kind of messy, and honestly, sometimes it feels like they're deliberately dragging their feet. Right. So let's unpack that because what our sources are showing is that this whole slow motion claims world is changing fast. We're doing a deep dive today into how AI, artificial intelligence, specifically the image recognition part, is just completely turning vehicle damage assessment on its head. Our mission here is to show you how this tech is swapping out that slow human process for really quick, data-driven estimates.
That's exactly right. And for the insurance industry itself, this is probably the biggest competitive shift in years. We're moving away from that model you described, slow, lots of people involved, manual assessment, to something that's almost instant and incredibly accurate, too, based on machine learning.
Hmm.
And the main goal, it's not just about making things smoother for the insurance companies, though it does that. It's really about speeding the whole claims thing up for you, the customer, and frankly, giving you a much better experience.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics then, because this part still sounds a bit like sci-fi to me. How does an AI actually look at, say, a couple of smartphone photos of a banged-up door and spit out a repair cost, a dollar figure?
Yeah, it seems like a big leap, but there's a solid logic behind it. The core tech uses something called convolutional neural networks, CNNs for short. Think of a CNN as like a really advanced digital eye. It doesn't just see pixels on a screen. It understands the objects those pixels make up.
Yeah.
So you upload your photos. The CNN kicks in immediately. It has these different layers, right? The first few layers spot basic stuff lines, edges, colors. But the deeper layers, they've been trained on just tons and tons of images of damaged cars, like massive historical data sets. And that's where it gets clever. It starts segmenting.
Segmenting, you mean like outlining the
Yes,
damage?
exactly. It uses something called semantic segmentation. It basically draws a digital map over the image. It knows that's the headlight, that's the fender, there's the hood, and then it precisely maps the boundaries of the damage on those parts. It figures out not just where the damage is, but what kind it is. Is it just a paint scratch, a deep crack, or is the structure bent?
Right, so it's identifying and locating specific damage on a specific car model. Very precise. But how does it get from cracked headlight to, the actual cost? Where's the money part come from?
Okay, that's the next crucial step, integration. Once the CNN maps the damage, the algorithm cross-references that map with several live data sources. It taps into these huge repair procedure databases. Think companies like Mitchell or CCC here in the States, which list like the standard time it takes to do every single repair test.
Okay, standard labor times. Makes sense.
And crucially, it uses APIs, those are application programming interfaces, to pull live inventory and pricing information straight from parts suppliers.
Yeah.
Regional ones, dealers.
So it knows the real-time price.
Exactly. It doesn't just guess headlight. It knows a new factory headlight for your, say, 2022 Honda Civic costs exactly $450 right now in your area.
Yeah.
And that it takes, 1.5 hours of certified labor to install. And the really cool part, because it's machine learning, it keeps getting better. If it sees that a certain type of dent consistently ends up costing more to fix than its first estimate, the algorithm adjusts itself for next time. It learns.
That constant learning loop.
Yeah.
That's powerful. It means the estimates aren't just static guesses. They reflect the real changing costs of repairs.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for everyone listening. Let's connect this tech back to the actual experience. Our sources highlight 4 huge benefits. There's some pretty impressive numbers here. Benefit number 1, speed. Obvious, but huge.
Oh, the speed is just transformative. You mentioned waiting days for an estimate before. Now with AI, that detailed estimate, line by line, can be generated within minutes of the photos being uploaded. Minutes!
Minutes for the estimate.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about the whole claim? Like from accident to getting paid or the repair approved, how much faster is that?
The data we're seeing points to the total claim resolution time being cut by up to 60%.
Wow.
60%.
Wow.
Think about what that removes, right? Scheduling the adjuster, the travel time, the manual data entry back at the office, someone physically looking up parts codes and labor rates.
Oh, no.
All that delay, gone, automated. It just completely changes the game for customer satisfaction and insurer costs. 60% is massive. But hang on. If it's all based on photos I take, what if I take bad photos? Or what about fraud? Like if my garage is dark or I kind of hide some other damage. How accurate can it be then?
That's a really important point, and insurers are definitely thinking about it. The systems are getting smart enough to spot poor quality images. If it's too dark, weird angle, whatever, it flags it.
Flags it for a human to look at.
Exactly. Triggers a quick human review. And they're also using pattern recognition to spot things that just don't add up. Like if the photos show a tiny little ding, but the parts list includes something major usually only seen in a big crash, flagged. Potential fraud or maybe hidden damage needs a closer look.
So the AI handles the straightforward stuff.
Right. Maybe 80% of claims get handled instantly. That frees up the human experts to really focus on that tricky 20%, the complex cases or the potentially dodgy ones.
Okay, that makes sense. Using AI as a filter. So beyond speed, benefit number 2 you mentioned was accuracy, taking the human guesswork out. Does that really make the estimates tighter? How close are they to the final bill?
Yeah, the precision is pretty remarkable
Yeah.
because it's pulling real-time data, verified costs, parts prices. The estimates are generally aligning with the final actual repair cost within about 5 to 10%. It's a very tight range.
5 to 10%. That's pretty close. Does that mean like less arguing with the repair shop later on because they trust the initial AI number more?
That's exactly the idea. It builds trust with the body shops. When the starting number is that reliable, based on actual data, there's less need for that back and forth, that haggling you sometimes get. And going back to the cost thing, the AI is smart enough to know the difference between, say, an official manufacturer part, OEM, a good quality aftermarket one, or even a certified used part. It can generate different estimate options based on the policy.
Got it. Okay, benefit 3, convenience. This feels like the big payoff for the customer, right? That 60% time saving really lands here.
Absolutely. The whole experience is now built around your phone, basically. You take the photos, upload them through a simple app. Right there. It just completely cuts out the worst part of the old way, waiting for an adjuster appointment or having to drive your damaged car somewhere and sit in line. Now you can do it from home, from work, even from the roadside right after it happens. And you could have that estimate back before you've even, finished making a cup of tea.
Okay, speed, accuracy, convenience. The final piece, the fourth benefit, is cost savings, right? For the insurance companies.
Yeah, definitely. All that automation, less manual work, less travel, fewer phone calls chasing things up. It dramatically cuts their operating costs. And the hope, suggested by the sources, is that some of those savings could eventually trickle down, maybe through more efficient operations, leading to better pricing, potentially lower premiums for you in the long run.
So faster, more accurate, way easier for the customer, and potentially cheaper for everyone because it cuts out waste. Sounds like a win-win-win, a total industry shakeup. Let's pull back a bit then. How widespread is this? Is this just a few companies experimenting, or is it really taking hold?
Oh, it's definitely moved beyond the experimental phase. It's becoming, well, essential, a competitive necessity for any serious insurance carrier now. Our sources point to a recent 2025 industry report. Get this, AI image recognition has already processed over 1 million claims around the world.
1 million. Wow.
Yeah, 1 million. That number tells you two things. One, the tech works reliably at scale. And two, insurers are actually trusting it with real claims, real money. Being able to give fast, accurate estimates and that smooth customer experience. That's how insurers are competing now. If companies aren't adopting this kind of automation, they're already falling behind. You see it in their customer satisfaction scores, their efficiency numbers.
1 million claims. That's significant volume. Is it still mostly for, like, minor stuff? Little scratches, small dents? Or are they trusting the AI with bigger things, like deciding if a car is a total write-off?
Good question. It definitely started with more cosmetic, straightforward damage, but the tech's getting better, handling more complex stuff now. For total losses, where the car is basically junked. A human adjuster usually still makes the final call, often for legal reasons. But the AI is doing the heavy lifting up front. It rapidly calculates the repair cost versus the car's current market value.
Ah, so it speeds up that decision.
Dramatically. It tells the insurer instantly if repairs are likely to cost more than the car is worth. That saves days, sometimes weeks, of waiting and uncertainty for the customer wondering if their car is fixable or not.
Okay, that's a big deal too. So if this super fast photo analysis is where we are now, what's next? Where does AI claims assessment go from here?
Right. The next evolution is really about enhancing the input, getting even better data for the AI to work with, especially for that tricky damage you mentioned earlier, the stuff that's hard to see in quick phone snapshot.
Yeah.
So think beyond just smartphone photos. We're talking about integrating things like drone imagery and sophisticated 3D modeling.
Drones, how would that work? Flying over the car.
Exactly. Drones offer a couple of key advantages. First, Safety and access. They can easily get pictures of damage on the roofs or underneath the car, places that are awkward or risky for a person to inspect closely. Second, consistency. A drone can be programmed to capture images from specific angles and distances every single time. Takes the human variability out of it. You get standardized data.
Okay, drones for tricky angles. What about 3D modeling?
3D modeling is where it gets really powerful for serious damage assessment.
Mhm.
When the AI can build a full 3D model from the images, it's not just looking at surface scratches anymore. It can measure volume. It can detect how deep a dent is, if the structure is twisted, if the frame is bent, things that are almost impossible to judge accurately from flat 2D photos alone. Assessing potential frame damage remotely, that becomes a real possibility with 3D. The ultimate goal for all this, even more accuracy, even more efficiency, just making the whole claims process faster and fairer for everyone involved.
Faster and fairer. Yeah, that really sums up this whole tech shift, doesn't it? So, thinking about what this all means for you listening, we started with that familiar frustration, right? The slow, painful claims process. And where we've ended up is this picture of a complete transformation, moving away from slow, human judgment calls and scheduling headaches towards instant, data backed estimates that prioritize speed, accuracy, and convenience for you, the customer. It really is changing that whole post accident headache.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And it leaves us with a pretty interesting thought to consider, doesn't it? As this technology gets even better, becomes standard, when you think about integrating things like precision drone scans, volumetric 3D models, will that traditional idea of an inspection, a person physically looking at the damage, making a judgment call, will that just become irrelevant for the vast majority of claims anyway? Something to think about next time you, hopefully not, have to file a claim.